When dealing with toxic people, the temptation to get even can be overwhelming. They manipulate, lie, undermine, and hurt you in ways that feel unfair and unjust. Your natural instinct may be to strike back, to prove a point, to expose them, to make them feel the pain they inflicted on you. But here's the harsh truth. Seeking revenge keeps you tied to their toxicity. A smart mind understands that real power doesn't come from retaliation, it comes from elevation. Instead of wasting energy trying to get even, they invest that energy into self-improvement. Instead of focusing on the people who tried to bring them down, they focus on rising above them. The greatest response to toxicity is success. Mental, emotional, and personal growth that renders those who wronged you irrelevant. Revenge is a distraction. It keeps you stuck in the past, replaying the wrongs done to you, keeping you emotionally connected to the very people you want to break free from. Toxic individuals love this. They want to live rent-free in your mind. They want to occupy your thoughts and dictate your actions, even when they're no longer in your life. The more you focus on them, the more you give them control. But when you shift your focus to growth, everything changes. You redirect your energy toward building a better life, becoming stronger, and achieving goals that toxic people never wanted to see you accomplish. You stop being reactive and start being proactive. You stop playing their game and start creating your own path. So how do you make this shift? First, you redefine your mindset. Instead of asking, how can I make them pay? Ask, how can I use this experience to grow? Every toxic encounter teaches a lesson, whether it's about boundaries, self-respect, or emotional resilience. Learn from it. Use it as fuel. Turn the pain into wisdom and use that wisdom to shape a better future. Second, channel your energy into self-improvement. Work on your physical health, strengthen your mind, develop new skills, and pursue the things that bring you fulfillment. Toxic people want to see you stuck, bitter, and broken. Prove them wrong, not by seeking vengeance, but by thriving in a way they never expected. Your success is the ultimate response. Finally, detach emotionally. Forgiveness does not mean allowing them back into your life, nor does it mean excusing their behavior. It simply means freeing yourself from the weight of resentment. Holding on to anger only keeps you connected to the past. Letting go does not mean you lost. It means they no longer have the power to affect you. At the end of the day, your purpose is bigger than any toxic person who tried to tear you down. Your energy is too valuable to be wasted on revenge. Focus on growth, focus on your future, and watch how quickly the people who once tried to control you become insignificant. The best response to toxicity is a life well lived, one they can no longer touch. One of the hardest truths to accept is that some people cannot be reasoned with, cannot be changed, and do not deserve a place in your life. We are taught to give people second chances, to be forgiving, to compromise. But a smart mind understands that there comes a point when cutting ties is not only necessary, but the only path to true peace. Toxic people survive on access. As long as they have a way to manipulate, drain, and control you, they will. They will use guilt, obligation, and even nostalgia to keep their grip on you. But you must ask yourself, is this relationship adding to my life or is it taking from me? Does this person uplift me or do they constantly pull me down? Am I growing or am I shrinking in their presence? If the answer is the latter, then you already know what must be done. The problem is not knowing. It's executing. Walking away from a toxic person, especially if they are a family member, a longtime friend, or someone you once cared for deeply, is not easy. But holding on to people out of history, or obligation is a recipe for misery. Smart minds know that no relationship, no matter how long it has existed, justifies the cost of their mental and emotional well-being. The fear of cutting ties often comes from guilt. What if I'm overreacting? What if they change? What if they need me? Toxic people will play into these doubts, feeding you just enough kindness, just enough hope to keep you hooked. But look at their patterns, not their empty promises. Have they truly changed, or are they simply doing the bare minimum to keep you in their orbit? Cutting ties does not mean you are cruel. It does not mean you lack empathy. It means you refuse to keep setting yourself on fire to keep someone else warm. It means you recognize that walking away is sometimes an act of self-respect, not selfishness. You do not have to make grand announcements or give long explanations. Sometimes the best way to leave is to simply leave. Without drama, without negotiations, without giving them another chance to pull you back in. And when you do walk away, do not look back. Toxic people will test your resolve. They will try to lure you back with apologies, with guilt trips, with sudden acts of kindness. Do not fall for it. If someone has consistently disrespected you, ignored your boundaries, and brought negativity into your life, they are unlikely to change overnight. There are people in this world who thrive on chaos. They spread it, they nurture it, and they feed off it. They test your patience, they twist your words, and they seek to pull you into their vortex of misery. And if you're not careful, if you don't stand your ground, you'll find yourself drowning in their dysfunction, questioning your own reality, losing pieces of yourself bit by bit. Toxic people thrive on weakness. They exploit hesitation, manipulate kindness, and push limits to see how much they can get away with. If you don't establish firm boundaries, they will continue to encroach upon your mental and emotional space, draining your energy and warping your sense of self. Smart minds understand that boundaries are not a luxury, they are a necessity. But setting boundaries is only half the battle. Enforcing them is what truly separates those who maintain their peace from those who constantly find themselves in cycles of conflict. Boundaries are not simply words, they are actions. If you tell someone you won't tolerate disrespect, but you allow them to belittle you repeatedly, your boundary is meaningless. It's not enough to state your limits. You must uphold them with unwavering conviction. One of the biggest mistakes people make is thinking that setting boundaries means getting the other person's approval. But here's the truth. Toxic individuals will never like your boundaries. They will guilt trip you, call you selfish, and try to make you feel as though standing up for yourself is an act of aggression. This is because they benefit from your lack of limits. The moment you establish them, you disrupt their ability to manipulate and control. And they don't like that. That's why enforcing boundaries requires inner strength. You have to be willing to be misunderstood. You have to be okay with disappointing people who never had your best interests at heart in the first place. You have to learn that saying no is not cruelty, it's self-respect. A smart mind knows that allowing constant violations of boundaries is an act of self-betrayal. So how do you enforce boundaries effectively? First, you make them clear. Ambiguity breeds loopholes. Instead of saying, I don't like it when you talk to me like that, say, if you continue to speak to me in that manner, I will remove myself from the conversation. Instead of saying, I'm really busy, say, I won't be available during these hours and I won't be responding to messages. The more specific you are, the harder it is for someone to manipulate your words. Finally, remember that boundaries are a sign of self-worth. People with strong boundaries understand that their time, energy, and mental well-being are valuable. They do not allow just anyone to have access to them. Toxic people only remain in power where boundaries are weak. A smart mind ensures that those boundaries are impenetrable. Toxic people operate in a world of dysfunction. Their lives are fueled by drama, manipulation, and emotional turmoil. They thrive on conflict, twisting conversations, distorting facts, and creating unnecessary tension to maintain control over others. The biggest mistake you can make when dealing with a toxic person is stepping into their battlefield, believing you can reason with them or make them see logic. A smart mind understands this fundamental truth. You cannot win a fight that was designed to exhaust you. Engaging with toxic individuals only pulls you into their web of chaos, draining your energy and distracting you from your own priorities. The more you argue, the more they manipulate. The more you explain yourself, the more they twist your words. The more you try to fix the situation, the deeper you sink into their dysfunction. Toxic people seek reactions. They want to see you frustrated. They want to see you defending yourself. They want to see you proving your worth to them. Why? Because as long as you are reacting, they remain in control. Your anger feeds them. Your confusion gives them power. Your emotional responses validate their influence over you. This is why smart minds do not engage. They refuse to play the game. They do not get drawn into pointless arguments. They do not waste time explaining themselves to people who are committed to misunderstanding them. They recognize when a conversation is no longer about resolution, but about manipulation, and they disengage immediately. Disengagement does not mean weakness. It does not mean you are incapable of standing up for yourself. It means you understand the cost of wasted energy. It means you refuse to let someone else dictate your emotional state. It means you have the discipline to walk away from battles that serve no purpose.